Assalamu alaikum, dear community members. Welcome to your community center. Welcome back to Friday nights at MCC with your friends, your family, and your community members. The Board of Trustees and the Board of Directors are honored and humbled by your presence here tonight. We encourage you, whether this is your first time at MCC or you have been a long-standing member, to continue to join us, whether there's 10 of us or there are hundreds of us. Your presence is what makes MCC so special. Without you, we are just empty walls, as we have seen in the last 2 years. Alhamdulillah that we are able to gather again during these nights. My name is Humaira Nawaz, and I serve on the Board of Directors along with my other peers, whom I would like the honor to introduce. Sister Heather Watkins, Brother Hanif Muhammad, Brother Amir Malik, Brother Samar Lakani. The BOD encourages all of you to always reach out to us in person if you see us at MCC or via email at bod@mcceastbay.org. We will take our utmost presence to listen to you, to try to help resolve any issues or listen to your suggestions. Better yet, join us. Join us as Board of Directors. Join us as volunteers. Without you, MCC Board of Directors are just a few people trying their best. You know what our community needs. When I say this, I'm looking at the youth in our community. I'm looking at the young men and women of this community, our 20-somethings and our 30-somethings, who know what our community youth needs. You have been there. You know what are the struggles of being raised in this country, the challenges you face in real life. Join us, tell us, share your struggles with us, and guide us on how to get our community and our youth back engaged at MCC and our mosques all around. First and foremost, we would like to thank you. We would like to thank our community for a beautiful Ramadan, a successful Ramadan. By successful Ramadan, I not only mean financially successful. All of you, your generosity helped us meet our goals financially for our operations, for our building, and for our zakat. That encourages us to continue to forge forward with the plans we had set forth for MCC and the big ideas that we are going to share with you tonight. It also means that having your presence every night at Taraweeh, for the community iftars, for the special groups iftars on Sunday, and our hugely popular youth halakas and Friday night youth iftars encouraged us and made us remind us of the pre-COVID days. So alhamdulillah, it was a beautiful Ramadan, and it was made beautiful by your presence. The BOD would like to start the tradition of Town Hall meetings again. There are 2 reasons behind this. First of all, obviously, we would like to thank you and continue to build trust with you. How are we going to do that? We want to hear from you. We want you to engage with the Board of Directors, with the Board of Trustees. And secondly, we want to update you. We want to tell you what is coming next for MCC. We want to share with you what programmings and classes are going to be coming up this fall. We also want to share the construction updates. Please pardon our dust. As you see, MCC is growing, it's changing. There are lots of changes coming through construction. We might not all be aware of them, and that is why we wanted you to be here so we could share those with you and let you know that we are fulfilling the promises that we made to the community about the basketball court that our youth was so excited about during Ramadan, a cafe down the road where you will get to sip coffee with your friends, a library, and a gymnasium. All of those are going to become a reality with your support and, of course, with your du'as. During pandemic, we have realized many community members have moved away from East Bay, but there are many more who have moved to the Tri-Valley area. If you're new to the community, welcome. Tell us how we can help you get settled. Volunteer with us, join us, become our member. MCC encourages you to become our monthly member so we can continue to provide the kind of programming and the kind of classes that we have become known for. Please come see us after the town hall meeting and we can share more ideas about that. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight. I would like to now hand off the mic to Sister Amina, who will update you on the zakat and pantry and what is next and how does she do all so effortlessly. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Those who are listening online, thank you all so much for your support. My first task is to update you all on our MCC Ramadan goals. We are happy to share that, alhamdulillah, we did meet the fundraising goals that we had set out at the beginning of the month. Building fund, we collected just over $354,000, mashallah. Thank you. Operations, we collected just over $80,000. And for zakat, alhamdulillah, through your tremendous generosity, we met our goals with the effort of serving those in our community that are in need this year. Okay, our current community outreach updates. Zakat, how are we helping? Rental assistance is our primary effort. Our primary goal is to keep families housed. We are currently processing about 15 to 20 applications per week. So as you can see, there's quite a few families in our community throughout the East Bay that are in need. We serve single sisters, single mothers, domestic violence victims, working families with children, and refugees. Our food pantry is our next big project. Alhamdulillah, at the start of COVID, we created a partnership with the Alameda County Food Bank. The Sprinter that many of you see outside, that was received as a grant from the Alameda County Food Bank. We also have a partnership with Help a Mother Out, which provides diapers to us at almost no cost. We pay $1 per large box of diapers, and that helps so many families throughout the Bay Area that are struggling to provide diapers for their young children. We also have a partnership with Open Heart Kitchen. They come to us every Thursday, and there's literally a line of cars wrapped around the building outside. And this provides food to our Tri-Valley neighbors. 90% of these are our non-Muslim neighbors that come to us seeking food. And Saturdays, we have a bi-weekly food distribution. We serve about 350 families throughout 13 East Bay cities. At the start of COVID, we started with local families. We were serving about 20, 30 families, and it's blossomed now to about 350 families that we deliver food to. We have volunteers, I can tell you, that have not missed a single Saturday since COVID. They come, they pack food, they pack produce, they pack staple items, and they deliver groceries all over the East Bay to families. If you ever have a chance to volunteer, it's an amazing thing to watch. We also have families that live locally. They come on Saturdays and we give food. We put food directly into their cars. Tuesdays and Thursdays, as I said, we have a drive-through food distribution. The Tuesday operation we support, and then on Thursdays, Open Heart Kitchen comes and they provide food. The partnership with them is so wonderful because they realize the Muslim community that they're serving, so they actually bring halal meat for our community members so that the Muslims that come are able to get meat as well. as other food items that they offer. The third component of our zakat program is our car program. This past year, we gave over 50 cars to families. All of these are families that don't own a car, have no way to get to work other than public transportation. And as we know with COVID, that was a big issue for many families not wanting to utilize public transportation. Right now, our car program is struggling. We need vehicles. We need vehicles to be donated. We are purchasing vehicles through the auction. But as you're aware, right now, the market for used cars is not good. So if you have a vehicle that you're no longer using, maybe you're working from home, maybe you know people who are working from home and aren't utilizing their car, and they'd be interested in donating it, that would be wonderful. If we have any community members that work at car dealerships and can help us get used cars at a good price, please contact me and let me know. That would be a great option to serve the communities, the families in our community that are struggling without a vehicle. The next component of our zakat program is refugee support. I have to start by saying that the refugee support that we do could absolutely not be done without the partners that we work with. So we have SRVIC, the San Ramon Valley Islamic Center, and ICZ, the Islamic Center of Zahra. And we absolutely could not serve the thousands of refugees that have come into the Bay Area since the Afghan crisis started without their support. It's a tremendous partnership, and because of them, we are able to do so many things for the refugees. We work in support of IRC, which is the International Refugee Committee, which is a national organization that serves the refugees when they first arrive into the country. So through IRC, families are referred to us. We provide a security deposit and rental assistance, and this allows the families to get out of the hotels that they're initially staying in and into apartments of their own. Once they're into the apartment, then they need basic apartment items. So we provide apartment setups. We provide approximately 2 apartment setups per week, but it's very difficult to say no to a family that's sleeping on a hardwood floor. Many of the sisters are pregnant. There's elderly members in their family. So we say 2 apartment setups per week, but sometimes it actually turns into 3 or 4. So we provide basic household items. So these are bedroom items, new mattresses, new bedding, bed frames, basic kitchen items, and basic bathroom items. So everything that a family needs to basically function in their home is what we provide. If we're able to, we provide sofas, dining room tables, televisions, things like that, depending on the donations from the community members. We also provide hot meals and food deliveries to the families when they first arrive into the hotels. So we have a team of volunteers that cook meals and a team of volunteers that deliver the hot meals to the families. So as you can see, all of this is being done with hundreds of volunteers from within our community that step up and do a variety of tasks. Then we have our bazaars. Since November, we've done about 1 bazaar per month. We host them here, again, as a partnership with SRVIC, and families come and they're able to collect basic items. We're talking clothing, shoes, household items, diapers, food, blankets, undergarments, and laptops. So it's been great. Our next bazaar will be in August, and we're focusing on back-to-school items for children. So we'll be collecting new backpacks and school supplies, as well as shoes and coats for children. Okay, what is next for the community? Our pantry, mashallah, has expanded so much that we are now moving to an off-site warehouse in downtown Pleasanton. This will allow us to increase our food distribution. There will be space within the warehouse that we can include the items for our apartment setups and for our bazaars so that we can continue to meet the needs of the refugees. We've also partnered with DoorDash. As I mentioned, we've had so many volunteers that have come with the food pantry, and they're doing deliveries, but it's been about 2 years now, and it's a bit difficult to keep up with all the deliveries, especially now that we're over 300 families that we're serving. So DoorDash, free to us, is offering deliveries. So now instead of one driver loading up their minivan with food for 12, 13, 14 families, we're loading up our Sprinter and minivans where we take the seats out of, and one driver will drive, let's say, to Hayward, and all the DoorDash drivers will come and they'll pick up the food and they do the actual deliveries to the people's homes. It helps the DoorDash drivers. As we know, DoorDash drivers are also struggling to support their families, so they also earn money from this. But again, it's all at no cost to MCC. So as you can see, the partnerships that we've developed over the last few years are a huge reason why we're able to do all of the variety of things that we're able to do. We also have the car and bike programs. As I mentioned, we have a desperate need for car donations. We have about 30 families on the wait list without a car to get to work and get to school. So a car for a family is absolutely a game changer. Just imagine that you're a single mom, you have 2 kids, and you need to get to the grocery store. Let's say your kids are 2 years old and 4 years old. Absolutely impossible to hold their hands, get on a bus, go do the grocery shopping, and somehow carry the groceries back, you know, on the bus, back to your apartment while holding your little kids' hands. So please spread the word about our car program. I just can't say enough what a game changer it is for the families. It increases their job opportunities. It makes life so much easier for them. We also have the bike program that we've started. We have about 25 refugees on the wait list, waiting to get a bike so that they can just get to work. So that sums it up, and I'll be happy to take questions at the end, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Munir. I've been here about 6 years. I'm kind of the octopus out here. I have my tentacles all over the place. But alhamdulillah, so I used to work with Sister Amina or do that work there, but now I'm focusing on a lot of different things. One of the items that I'll be talking about right now is programming. Specifically, but the construction committee will be giving us an update shortly here, and I'm more interested on that because the program will be dependent on what kind of construction changes we'll be having here at MCC within the next couple of years, which will really allow us to move to the next level of programming for MCC, which has been one of our signature programs. First, the silver lining of the pandemic. Alhamdulillah, with the pandemic, one of the silver linings has been our virtual growth. Alhamdulillah, we have more than 100,000 subscribers on our different platforms. That includes LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and there's a couple others that I'm missing there, but Vimeo, they're all there. So, we hear from people in Tanzania, we hear from people in Palestine, we hear from people in Siberia, literally Siberia, that they're able to benefit from our virtual programming. So one of the benefits has been, alhamdulillah, to the board, their credit, that right before the pandemic that we upgraded all our AV system. So we're able to live stream and record everything, which we do pretty regularly. So we have programming coming out every day, almost every day we have a program coming up, and we have our youth involved. We have the GEMS series, for example, which takes little snippets of talks here. We have more than 2,000 videos up on our different platforms, and they take little snippets of the khutbah and they put them up, and sometimes we see more than 1 million views of just one snippet, more than 1 million views. So alhamdulillah, that's been one of the pandemic blessings, you might say. So what that's come to right now is, let me just change the slide here. So where we are with programming right now is we had original plans in January for us to come back virtually. So when the pandemic started in March of 2020, we moved all our programming on Zoom. And that continues to go on there. We have our Friday night halakas, we have our after-school Quran program, our Hifz program, our Zoom Arabic program, our Urdu program, our ESL, all the Sunday school programs. So we had more than 1,000 different groups that went on our Zoom account. So that's been being used very heavily. Our hope was this past January to come back in person at MCC. Because of the surge that we had, at that time, we weren't able to come back. We had to cancel those plans. So with that, we were able to kind of do some more construction around the facility. Now for the fall, we do plan to come back to a certain extent in person here. And that will be very exciting for us. The walls of this facility have been very lonely since the start of the pandemic, and they'll be very happy to have the kids running around. So there's so many activities there. What we do plan to do, I'll just go through the list here. We have the women's, men, the halakas on Friday nights. Those were very popular. If you came here on a Friday night, you would see, pre-pandemic, it was just amazing. So we had Sheikh Rami with the men in the prayer hall. We had Dr. Rania in the conference room here. We had all the classrooms, all 21 classrooms full with the navigators for the boys and the Rahma camp for the girls. And so there was about 350 people here on Friday nights. And it was beautiful to see. The pandemic stopped all that, and now it's going to be coming back in piecemeal. So Rahma has already said that they would like to come back this fall. So that's the plan, inshallah. And as many of you know, we're looking to recruit a youth director. Sheikh Rami, during the pandemic, resigned so he could focus more on his other pursuits, and so we're just now getting to the point where we're looking to hire a youth director. We need somebody dynamic, we need somebody really focused, and so if you know somebody that fits that criteria, then please send them our way, because we're looking to hire a full-time youth director. The mental health services and the youth were one thing that during the pandemic that we really suffered. And we saw that, and Sister Amina and I had to kind of hold a lot of hands here, which we're not trained to do, but we had to do that. So it really takes somebody who has the spiritual and the psychological that we're looking for here, because the youth, and there's a lot of people suffering out there, and we need to have a youth director that kind of fits that mold. We've also, during the pandemic, the last year, we worked with Rahma Foundation to do 2 women's conferences. These women conferences have been very well received. We have Dr. Haifa Yunus from the Missouri area. She would come down here, and then we had Dr. Rania, and we would invite a lot of different speakers and we've just closed down the whole facility for the men. So the men would have to pray outside during those days, the whole facility. And we would get upwards of 400 people here in person, but online it would be thousands. And during one program, we had 2 shahadas of sisters during the program. They're very powerful. So we're going to continue to be working on those every so often. Those have been a new signature program. And the weekend retreats. We have some coming up in July. You've seen, Yahya Rodos came recently and had a talk on the Ghazali's work on prayer. So there's a lot of good programs that we're looking to really ramp up as we get kind of out of this pandemic. The youth that we talked about, the youth director and the Friday night halakas and the youth support. The Quran program, Qari Ammar has been leading that very ably on Zoom. The Hifz program as well. That all come back in person. So you'll see a lot more after school activities, and you'll see the kids back here in the fall, inshallah. Our Arabic, our Urdu, our ESL program, all those are looking to come back. And one thing that Sister Amina mentioned is we're going to be moving the pantry back off-site. And once we get the pantry off-site, we'll be able to utilize those classrooms again. One thing I'd like to talk about is the special cohorts that we have in the congregation. So often we're just looking at the men, the women, and we really don't see the other groups. So we made a concerted effort to look at the families that have special needs. These are people, especially during the pandemic, because of their immunocompromised children, they wouldn't really be coming to the masjid. So our special needs group has been working very hard, very diligently to make sure that we're up in the game on what we're able to offer once we come back in the fall, and we're going to have a lot more support groups. New Muslim program has been really exploding. I always say it was like a trickle before COVID, and the floodgates just opened, and we just had shahada after shahada. I think Qari Ammar and I did at least 40 shahadas during COVID and on Zoom. And so the shahadas keep coming. Right now, currently, we're supporting 120 new Muslims here in the Bay Area, and that includes giving them a new Muslim box. We have a one-on-one mentor from our congregation, and we have Sister Edlin and Brother Kevin who have WhatsApp groups and email groups, and we do programming here. You probably don't hear a lot about it because we are very focused to make sure that there's only new Muslims coming there and not the general congregation, because it's very focused on the challenges and the struggles and the opportunities new Muslims face. The single Muslims has been another challenging cohort in the congregation. They have had a lot of difficulty during the pandemic of finding a spouse. And so we've tried different things as far as a platform to try to connect single brothers and sisters, and what we decided in the end is that it's above our pay grade. We can't figure out how to do this properly. So we reached out to a group called Half Our Deen in Los Angeles, and there's a gentleman, a comedian named Baba Ali, who runs the group. And they've been doing they're starting to do quarterly matrimonial events right here in this room. At the last one, we had 65 single brothers and sisters, and all but 9 were pleased with the way that they ran the program. So we're tweaking it just a little bit. Our next one will be in August, and we'll have another one in November. And we'll be working to get the single brothers and sisters in a very copacetic way together and get that going, inshallah. The seniors group, before the pandemic, we had a monthly meeting of our seniors. It was called the Golden Club, and we'd have lunch for them, tea for them, and then we'd have a talk about some like Social Security or dealing with grandchildren or dealing with in-laws, something very relevant to them, and we'd have a different speaker coming. So we're going to restart that up in the fall. Our nature hikes are very popular. Alhamdulillah, right in January, we were able to restart that. We usually get about 40 or 50 sisters that go out to one of the areas here in the Bay Area and do a nature hike monthly. So those are going to continue to go on, and then we're going to be starting a brothers hike as well, and then eventually we might move to a youth hike. The other thing we'll talk about is the Fajr social. This was very popular. We would have breakfast after Fajr. Qari Ammar would be reading certain surahs, and then we'd pray in congregation. And so we're going to bring that back. Counseling, alhamdulillah, there's some good announcements that will be coming up from MCC soon, where we're looking to ink a contract with a group that will be taking the counseling room over here. So brothers and sisters who are going through marital issues, going through issues with teenagers, they're able to come here in a confidential setting and get the support they need. And it will be on a sliding scale. Most insurance will be accepted. We're working on that diligently. We're also working on an addiction support group. This will be the first masjid in the country that will be hosting a addiction support group within the walls of their masjid. And so we're working with Al-Anon, which has a national model, and we're tweaking that. Most churches use that, and we'll be tweaking that with Sheikh Rami's help, and there's another sister helping as well to make that kind of welcome to a masjid. So we do have a lot of people in our congregation struggling with pornography addiction, with substance abuse, with suicidal ideations. These are real issues. If we don't get ahead of the problem, it's coming. The wave is coming, and it's just gotten worse during the pandemic. So we're trying to kind of get ahead and try to get ahead of what's on the floor here. So that's it for me. I'll just focus on that, and I'll turn it over to Brother Said now to give us some construction updates. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum. Before I go to the slide, just wanted to give you a little bit of context, how MCC started and how we bought this building, and then what were the options, what are the things we considered. MCC started at a rental location here in Pleasanton, much smaller than this. We were looking at buildings to purchase, not so much as because we already owned a piece of land. And the plan was that we build out a community center with a masjid, which meets all the needs of the Muslims today, which is a masjid, of course, then a community hall, a dining hall, a Sunday school, with all those facilities built in from scratch. Very soon, we realized that that was not possible because of the cost, the construction costs. We are talking about way back 2009, 2010 timeframe. Even the construction costs at that time were prohibitive. But at the same time, the real estate market was down, and this building came up for sale. And we, got into a huddle. Of course, this was an office building, and it didn't have everything that, what a community center would need. But regardless, we could make it look like a community center after some modifications. So with that rationale, by the way, the pricing at that time, the price of this building was extremely attractive. And so we went ahead and having all the, with the community, with all the community's blessing and their support, we went ahead and purchased this building. So, and again, as I said, what we purchased was an office building, which has, you know, low ceilings, offices all around. Luckily, with what is prayer hall now, part of this was, I think, from what I recall, this used to be for some kind of, you know, security guard training or something. They used this hall. So, which ended up being very, you know, convenient for us. We got a hall which was all set up for us, and all we had to do is clean it up, find the direction of the Kaaba, and start praying. But very soon, as soon as we moved here, there was a tremendous community response. And over the years, we have made some changes, we have made some modifications to suit our needs. Also, during that time, we took the time to pay off all the qarz-e hasna that we had accrued for the purchase of the building. Now, we are in a position that we want to change and make the building look like a community center and offer all the services that we promised the community we would do. This was over 12, 14 years ago. So here's a quote from our bylaws that we would provide educational, professional, charitable, social, recreational, and civic activities for Muslims, for Muslim community in the Tri-Valley area. Notice, at that time, we were thinking of the Tri-Valley area only. The scope now, today, has grown. It went first from the Tri-Valley to a national level. So we have subscribers, as Brother Munir mentioned, all over the country. Not only that, we are getting requests internationally. So we have to have a facility, we have to have a building that supports all our activities, all the programming that we want to offer. Although they are being offered on, I would say, a piecemeal basis, but the real challenge, I should say, the real way to do it is to have the proper facilities to support the planning and activities that we are to offer. Besides the other reasons that I mentioned why we need to make all those changes, is the religion itself. Islam, as you know, is a beautiful religion. MCC here, that we are members, we are volunteers, is a reflection, or should be a reflection, of our religion. So, and what our religion teaches us is cleanliness, orderly, and all the other I should say, enhancements that we need to do, compels us to do all the other enhancements that we need to do for our community center. So with that, I'd like to share what are the changes that we are planning to bring to the MCC. So as you see here, The top left are the dedicated Sunday school classrooms. The two restrooms that we have, which are men and women, those we have already upgraded and would not be changed. The location would not be changed. On the left side, we have the school office, a youth lounge, a women's gym, and a men's gym. I'd like to add a preface to these gyms. These are more like what we would call multi-purpose rooms, because we have some other activities that we want to support. For instance, if there is a parent-child, this could also be transformed into a parent-child room during the Tarawih that we offer. So these, we have currently labeled them as women's and men's gym, but these could change over time. Conference room that you're already so familiar with, the prayer hall on that side, the lobbies, and then there's a seniors lounge along with a library, and then a dining hall which would support more than about 350 people. That's a need that we have felt throughout the time that we have operated at MCC, and it's as we know, the piecemeal, spaces that we have that you see around in the lobby area and all, people are still willing to pay rent for those places, which is just a lobby. Just tells you the great demand that the community has for such a facility in our MCC center. Then, of course, there are meeting rooms, office, and a ladies' lounge. And then a commercial kitchen, which has two ends to it. One side would support the dining hall, and the other side would support a cafe. So, as you can see, the complexion and the level of activities, the level of services that MCC offers is changing tremendously. So this is what the new plan, what the new floor plan of MCC would look like, inshallah, with your support and with your blessings. Next slide. So in addition to what we're doing inside MCC, there is a whole host of facilities that we are building on the outside. The top right-hand corner, which is the basketball court. Again, this has been in great demand. We have done, put basketball hoops in our parking lot to meet this demand coming from our youth. But this would be a proper designated basketball court. Next to it is a play field, an open play field that can be utilized for soccer or any other games. All around this play area is a park course, and we would add, exercise and stretching equipment all along that. On the top left-hand side of the green area, you would see a play structure which is meant for smaller children, say toddler plus age. So again, our commitment to youth and the children to be at MCC. What is not, and this is my favorite, is the picnic area, which would also have barbecue pits. This would support, currently the number is 112 seating. And of course, if we add the play area to it, then we can support a lot more people here. The top side of the picnic area, which is shown in yellow, would be an outside wudu station. This is for people coming in late for the Jummah or for other prayers. So if they don't feel like going all the way to the bathroom, then there is an option to do wudu outside as well. Next. So what we had done is all the construction that is going on at MCC today, we have divided that into smaller projects that we can manage and operate seamlessly. There is approximately 19 or 20 such items that we are working on today. And I'll just quickly go through them because I do need, I should leave some time for a question and answer session. The parking lot repairs was completed recently. The removal of old HVAC units from the rooftop. This is something we inherited with the building. We're sitting on the huge, big boxes which were causing nothing but trouble because that causes roof leaks and stuff. So those have been removed. We have moved our admin offices already. The remodel of the lobby area is in progress. We are working on a dual entry exit for men's area. As you know, on Fridays as well as on Taraweeh and other big events, there is a lot of, the exit area is a bottleneck and is a fire code violation. So we need to be cognizant and be able to move more people in and out more efficiently. And then I have listed all the development that is to go outside area, the basketball, pickleball, badminton courts. There's a play structure for the younger children that I mentioned, the open play field for soccer, the park course and walkway all around, the play areas, wudu stations, barbecue and picnic area with 100+ seating. Munir? Again, the existing roof has been a problem over the years. It leaks and causes damage. So that is in progress in the sense we have 2 bids already. And the last bid we got was very attractive. So we would be moving forward with replacing the roof. But that we will do when all the other work that we need to do on the roof, which is replacing the HVAC unit, is complete. So there's a little bit of a sequencing that we need to do as we move forward. The landscaping and the irrigation system has to be replaced, and that work is in progress. We have a approved set of landscaping and irrigation plans from the city, and we are now gearing up to make those changes now. The rest of the items, the youth lounges, the seniors lounge, library, and as the list goes on, would be part of the packages. So, Munir, can we go back to the second slide? This one, yeah. So the way it works is we collect all our inputs. The construction committee works very closely with a design committee to come up with the design of what everything within MCC should look like. And it is an interactive process. And as we move forward, once we have finalized the design, we put that into, we give all that input to an architect. We have professional architects on board whom we are working with. And we are just starting to the approval process for all these. So the way it will work, all the changes going inside of the building will be one package that we will submit to the city. So that we have broken it up into two pieces, one for the inside of the building, the second for the outside. And the reason for doing that is so that if there is any snag, if there is any problem with one, so it doesn't hold up the other. For that reason, Munir, the second slide. All the changes going in there on the outside would be submitted to the city as another different package. So we are just starting to get the approval process started, and hopefully all the inputs that we have from the design committee have been integrated into our designs. Munir, the last slide. So before I end, I just wanted to emphasize one thing, that now that we are at the point of offering increased services, of course, this comes with increased responsibilities. And what that means, we have to develop a discipline in the use of all the facilities. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Food will be readily available. We'll have a cafe, we will have a dining area. So what we don't want is people bringing the food into, say, the prayer hall. So we need to develop our guidelines and our processes so that everything is done according to some guidelines. And that would help all the volunteers and all the staff members execute their jobs more efficiently. Of course, then we have the maintenance of the facilities. We are spending a lot of resources, time and effort in building all these, so we have to maintain those. And then once we have all these new platforms in place, that is the purpose of having all those facilities, is to build our new set of programs, new set of services. We can so that to get the community engaged and be part of the MCC family. What I mean is, if we have a basketball court available, we could start, say, a basketball tournament so that we have, maximum participation. And of course, it is the interest of the community members, and it is the interest of their families that keeps us going. So with that, I'd like to end and open it up for question and answer session.
Assalamu alaikum. Has anybody tried to look at the Wi-Fi issues here at the MCC? It's hard to, when you're here and you, like, for instance, for me, for work, I'm on call, so I like to come here as much as I can, but when I can't get a signal, it's hard to be on call, so then I have to stay at home, and I'd really like to have my kids come more often.
Do you want to take that, or should I? Do you want to take it with us? Okay. So we do have a public Wi-Fi, and since Ramadan, we've taken down the public Wi-Fi. The reason for that is during the construction, some of the wires were cut that lead to our extensions around the building. We have ports that are around the building to give us Wi-Fi signals there. So our tech team, which is all volunteer, has been trying to fish wires and rerun the wires all over the building. So that's something that we're working on, and that's the reason that we have to have strong internet for our virtual programming for our staff, and that's the reason we have to take down the public Wi-Fi. When we have 200 people or so, like in Ramadan, when we had 300 people or 400 people on the Wi-Fi, it would just bring down the whole network. So we just had to shut it down. One thing that we're going to be doing is having a lot more, the public network is throttled. Just we're going to be expanding the use of it so we can allow more people onto the network. So, unfortunately, we're in a dead zone, being by the creek here, so Verizon, T-Mobile, all of them, they just don't work in the building. So this is a constant thing we hear from our congregation. You're not able to pick up a signal inside this building, and that's why we had the public Wi-Fi, but with construction going on, we're going to be fixing those wirings. Oh yeah, go. Anybody else? Yep.
Assalamu alaikum. This you're talking about outside badminton court. So badminton court is indoor game, is not outside. If you will play, you cannot play outside. The shuttle is very light and the wind is very fast. So if you're making a badminton court, make it a tennis court. Same size, same everything will become like that. Most of people can play tennis.
So
badminton court is a very indoor game, one thing. Second thing, the shuttlecock is very costly. And if you will hit one shot wrong, the shuttle will break and then you have to change. And you have to change. And the badminton racket is very sensitive. The string is very sensitive. Nobody will play.
So
that is, I'm telling you, you will make the money, you will spend the money, everything, but people will never play because badminton court is inside.
So we've looked at the dimensions of a tennis court and a basketball court and a badminton court. We started out with the plan to have a full court for basketball because that is the constant demand we get from our community and our youth. Given the space that we have, we were forced to pare it down to a half court, a half basketball court and not a full basketball court. So what you see and what was shown on the slide is not a full basketball court, it's a half court. It is clearly understood that badminton is an indoors sport, but what is the cost for us to build that? Because some members have asked for it. The cost for us is just putting markings on what we already have as a basketball court. There is no separate badminton court as such. So it is, I should say, time sharing with the basketball court. So the basketball court itself is a multi-purpose court. And there is, to answer your question about the tennis court, we just do not have the room for a tennis court. I wish we did.
Okay. Thank you. We have a couple questions online as well, so let's take Brother Najib and then we'll go online.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. I think the brother had a point, but you're right, there's no extra expense or requirement to have their basketball linings over there, so to say. So I think that's, in my opinion, covered. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Thank you so much for sharing, I think, the most important part of the bylaws, which is for the purpose to meet the needs. So, alhamdulillah, we have an able board which covers the question who makes the decisions and who assesses the needs. Can you share with us something about the process of acquiring or assessing the needs?
So it was a few years ago that we did a community-wide survey. And we compiled, there was a list of, from what I recall, 50, 60 questions as to what the community wants to see and what they would like to have in a community center. So our basic fundamental structure for all the changes comes from what the community has asked and what the feedback we got from the community. It was given in the form of, priority. What is your priority? What do you want to, which sport would you like to see? Which, is banquet hall more important to you than say a conference room? So all our inputs all come from what we gathered from our community survey.
We're coming up on Maghrib. We'll have a closing dua, inshallah. Brother, sister. Oh, sorry, one little question, feedback rather.
Assalamu alaikum. It would be good if we have longer duration plan for these, so that we can, as a community, ask more questions. And the point which I was going to ask was, I would really like to know what the relationship is between the Board of Directors and the Board of Trustees. To me, and maybe I'm wrong, it seems like Board of Trustees are lifelong appointees, just like our Supreme Court is. And we would really like to know what their role is, how somebody, if I want to be part of a committee, what do I need to do? Do I just need to walk up to Brother Munir, or do I need to do something else? And so it would be good to know the more formalities of it and the relationship and how this is planned for the future. That is where I'm leading my question to. Jazakallah.
So I can give a quick response to that. The relationship between the Board of Trustees and Board of Directors is a traditional one. And what I mean by that is the Board of Trustees are responsible for the long-term goals of the center. The Board of Directors are responsible for the day-to-day handling of the center. Also, in addition to that, the Board of Trustees are also responsible for major renovations or remodeling of the center. The Board of Trustees are not lifelong appointees. Each member has a term. In fact, two of the original founders of the Board of Trustees retired recently. So the last part of your question was regarding your participation as a volunteer. There is, I believe, an email. Yeah, there is a volunteer email, and there's a sign-up form on the website that you can fill out and be part of the volunteer groups. And you can make sure to mention what your interests are as to which part, like, you want to be part of the construction committee, you want to be part of the Sunday school, you want to be part of the programming, or just express your interest. That would be helpful. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for taking the time and listening to our updates. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam tabarakta ya zal jalali wal ikram. Allahumma inna ala zikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallam alayhi. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Rabbana wa taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna ya maulana innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.